So Paul, thank you for joining me in this discussion.
Very welcome.
Well, so give us a background on your company and your role within the company.
Right, so I work for eBay, the world's largest auction place and one of the world's largest e-commerce websites. I'm guessing most people are fairly familiar with it.
Absolutely.
The infrastructure that supports it, it's a very, very large multi-tiered application, and it runs on something like between 14,000 and 16,000 physical servers.
Right.
We have 8,000 blades, large number of rack and stack servers. Most of our stuff is scale out. You want to be able to take advantage of scale up or scale out or virtualized or non-virtualized,
Right.
Based on the right compromise between performance, availability, cost, and so forth, and business agility and all that.
When you have such an enormous environment, you have a lot of activity going on at all times. You have a huge amount of physical infrastructure.
Yes.
And now you've got a huge amount of virtual infrastructure as well.
Yes.
And we haven't talked about the storage part of it, but I would assume that that is also pretty hefty as well.
Right, so our production storage environment, just for eBay, forgetting analytics and everything else, which is a really big thing on its own, we have about 4 petabytes of production storage, the vast majority fiber channel today.
And this is database data that's
this is almost all database.
Right.
So about 80% of that is database on large fiber channel systems.
Oh.
So you can imagine, I mean, eBay.com is one of the world's largest transactional systems. Because we're doing auctions, not just traditional shopping and catalogs.
It's not static. It's something that...
It's very dynamic. There's a lot of state there. And that has to be made very highly available, resilient, and all the rest of it.
Exactly, because
so
it is your business.
It is absolutely our business. It's also a lot of other people's business.
That's right.
In 2006, I think Nielsen reported 1.3 million people declared eBay to be their primary or secondary source of income on their tax returns.
That's right.
But the transactional thing, the fact that you're connecting buyers and sellers and there's monetary transaction involved at the end of the day, and that so many people depend on it for their livelihoods, means that availability and things like that are just not options. They just have to be there. So what we really want to do is get into this world where today, if you're managing an application or a service and you have this mobile infrastructure, you want to move it around, you want to make sure that all the context for the service or the application goes with it.
Right.
That means all the storage context, all the network context and everything else. Storage for years has been this place which has been managed very, very separately.
Right.
Yet is intimately tied with the application and the service.
Right.
And there's a big opportunity here, I think, for collapsing some of that complexity.
Right.
The difficulty so far is most of the tools in the virtualization world, not being vendor specific, just in general, have not been geared towards an application or a service-centric management paradigm.
Right.
So right now, up until recently, it's been almost more complicated.
Right.
Every time you add a new tool, you're adding a new set of skills that have to be trained, people who understand how to diagnose and look through. And of course, virtualization is very hard to look through and understand what's going on from a capacity perspective, or connections with things like storage and so forth. So, it's really important that we hide that complexity.